All right, welcome to Coin Hedge, everyone, where we stay ahead of the latest cryptocurrency and traditional financial markets and news. Today is November 21st, 2025. Before we get started, I am a financial advisor. However, this is not financial advice. For financial advice, visit thecoinhedge.com and set an appointment with me. Thank you for joining today, guys. Just want to go over a few things going on in the market. Sorry, I have not been posting videos lately. I had some issues with my accounts. Those have all been taken care of, so we are finally up and running for good, I believe. So just watch for some additional videos. So today I want to go over some of the price action that's occurred in the markets as of late. If you watched some of the videos from the previous week, one of the things we went over was kind of where we are in the market cycle. While we cannot predict exactly where we are, I don't know who can. If they can, put me in touch with them. We can have a general idea of what phase within the market cycle we're in. And what we mentioned the last couple of weeks was that we are sort of at the tail end of the distribution phase headed into the bear. And that is an unpopular opinion right now. And it's not the one that's going to get my channel the most views and the most subscribers and the most likes. While I do want to have an amplified ability to provide information to people, I'm not going to do it at the expense of lying. And I think that's really important. And that's why I made this channel. This is to provide some transparency into this cryptocurrency market, as I do believe that it is the future of finance. And it is actually intertwined in a lot of other technologies. I won't get too far into that right now, but it's very important to understand the difference between market cycles and the utilization of technology, and how while the utilization of that technology is going to increase, that does not, on a smaller time frame, always translate into price action. So a lot of people are saying right now on social media, so influencers, analysts, etc., that if you sell right now, then that means you don't believe in crypto. And I completely disagree with that. I do not like people saying that, because that's going to cause you to get stuck holding the bag at the top, and it can cause you to miss out on or increase your opportunity cost and potentially take a massive loss if you end up needing those funds. And it's just a really sad thing to see. I mean, there are people going on there saying stuff like that. They've got 100,000 subscribers. Those posts are getting, I'll show you some of them soon, they're getting 30, 40, 50,000 impressions. And how many of those people are taking financial advice from that and actually making decisions? It's not good for the space. But anyway, long story short, this is kind of where we are, I think, in the cycle, working our way down in here. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. But the good thing is that we can watch this occur and have our finger on the pulse of the market, and then prepare for the opportunity that comes down in the accumulation phase of the next market cycle. And that's the golden opportunity for buying, because if you buy down here, then you don't have to worry so much of these ups and downs in the market, right? You can just kind of relax. Whereas if you're buying somewhere up here, then your risk is a lot higher, and you've really got to focus on what you're doing in the market, because it could all come tumbling down. So how do we know, or how do I think I know, that we are somewhere in here? I don't like to just use one data source. I like to make connections in the markets, because the markets are all tied together, for better or for worse. But one of the tools that we can use to kind of figure out where we are is not just looking at the individual phases of the market cycle and making sure they're there. We can look at the past and see how those played out. So what we have on the screen now is the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. So when we're looking at the last cycle, what we saw was, the trough, we saw the uptrend, we saw distribution happen, and then we saw the final push here in Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin went up for a top, what happened? The S&P up here goes into distribution. So now Bitcoin tops and starts its way down into the bear market. And what's happening to the S&P? It is topping. Bitcoin's like, I don't know, a quarter of the way down in its bear cycle by the time the S&P is topping. And so Bitcoin was a leading indicator in 2021, 2022 for some of the other markets. And so what we saw the S&P top, Bitcoin kept going down, and then what happened? The S&P followed and followed some more, and then they both went into roughly around the same time into the next market cycle. So they're tied together. And so how do we compare that to now? Okay, well, Bitcoin goes into distribution. S&P still going up. Bitcoin tops right here. S&P distribution. Bitcoin starts its way down. Massive, massive drop. We're down 40K from the top, roughly. Sitting at 80, oh my gosh, 82 at the time of the recording. Even more than 40K. So Bitcoin starts its way down, and what's happening now, we're seeing the S&P, which is what we thought we were going to see from the previous videos. It's one thing we said was that the S&P was going to follow Bitcoin down, and we're starting to watch that happen after yesterday. Yesterday was not a great day in the markets. Okay, so while I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, what I can offer you is this. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this might be an opportunity, because normally what happens is we get a pretty nasty little leg down here, and then we get a little relief right here. So if you've been waiting for this massive retrace, start really focusing on the market. If you're stuck in right now at a purchase of here and you weren't planning on playing the long game, focus, because you could cut your losses on a little retrace. That is a terrible drawing, but that's okay. You get the point. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. And if you're looking to get out of the market, right now is a really good time to focus. Okay. Let's see. So we're looking at what's going on. We're watching the market start to fall, and everybody's singing doom and gloom, and it's okay, right? Because how long do these markets normally take to kind of bottom out? And it's normally about a year from peak to the bottom, 366 bars, so a year, right? So right now, hopefully you didn't buy here at the top and get stuck. If you bought somewhere down in here and then you made a bunch of money and you were successful in the market, great. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. But it's not over. Now's a good time to start really understanding where we are in the market cycle, because we've got about a year, and then we can start making our buys back in the market. So, excuse me. So, how do we know when the market is going to bottom? We just time it, right? It's time. We're not going to time it exact. We just want to get somewhere down in here. Somewhere down in here, right? I don't know what the varying percentages on those are, but if you don't have to time it perfectly. You don't have to time the bottom. As long as you're somewhere in here, you're making a great purchase into the market, a great entrance into the market, and then it is smooth sailing up in here. So right now is the time to pay attention. Okay. You got a year. Then whenever we get closer to that, we'll make some videos on how to kind of identify when that bottom is coming in. So, but another narrative on social media is, well, now we saw the S&P, the big caps, and Bitcoin and Ethereum top, so now it's the altcoins' turn to do that. And I disagree. While some like Zcash might, right? Select few, and I'll go over Zcash again. That doesn't mean the whole market does it. That doesn't mean you can just index the altcoin market and make a bunch of money. It's not how it works. It's very tough to guess which ones are going to do that. So, but how do we know that alt season is kind of, in a way, a myth? Because it follows Bitcoin. On the top here, we've got the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, and then we've got Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin on the bottom, got its three waves here. We've got all the phases of the market cycle. It's on its way down. If it were so much different, then right now we'd be seeing a massive pop up here in total 2, and it's following Bitcoin to a T, like it has the last market cycle and this entire market cycle. So while some coins like Zcash do go up on their own, so they deviate from the market, that doesn't mean the entire altcoin market does that. So, but Zcash did, and I'm happy to see that Zcash did because it's a utility token, and it's based off of privacy, and that's what crypto was supposed to be to begin with. So Bitcoin or crypto gets a bad rap. People say it's just like art, and that its only value is what the holder thinks it is, and what the previous person sold it for, and what the next person buys it for. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. This entire industry is similar to buying, I don't know, Microsoft or Tesla or Amazon back whenever they were first getting started. This is an emerging market. So it's really nice to see a token that solves a problem really take off. So that's a really good thing to see. But that does not mean that the rest of the market's going to be taking off. So just want to make sure we have an understanding of where we are in the market cycle. We're not here, right? Look at the chart. There's no way we're not right there. Sorry. We are not right here. Does it look like we're right there? No. What about here? We've identified this already. That was this. And what about here? Okay, I can give you that. Maybe. All right, but that was most likely right here. Right? When you look at this, does this involve a massive liquidation? Not really. So we have massive liquidations in the S&P, massive liquidations October 10th in Bitcoin, and that starts the bear. And here we are. So just having an understanding of where we are in the market cycle is critical to winning in this market. So, but yeah, this is what I want to show people earlier. I mean, look at this. The final shakeout next week will be monumental. This guy says this stuff every day. 33,000, almost 34,000 views. How many of those 34,000 people are making financial decisions based off of that? More than you think, and it's sad. And it's bad for the space. These people are just doing it for clicks. That's why they're bullish, because that's what people want to hear right now. They want hopium. They want somebody to come tell them it's going to be okay. Yeah, you bought the top, but you know what? It's okay. Oh, and by the way, if you sell, that means you don't believe in crypto. You weren't a true believer. You're just getting gaslit. And either way, you're either not bullish enough, or if you're bearish, then you're a terrible person and you shouldn't be in crypto and you need to go find another asset class. And neither one of those are true. Don't be fooled. And then we've got this guy, and both of these people have an amazing following. It's amazing. If I were smart, I would just say positive things every single day for the next 10 years, and I would probably have 1 million followers. But this guy says, one of the biggest mistakes of my life was getting bearish when Bitcoin dropped from 60K to 30K in 2021. Why is that a mistake? Hopefully he sold. If he didn't sell, then he lost. I mean, he's literally telling you, I sold, but I wish I didn't. That doesn't make any sense. That's so asinine. Each time I sold alts that, if held, would have made me crazy returns. Show me. Show me. How are you going to, where is it? How are you going to pick the right alts, dude? You can. I mean, so you can have a good thesis on what the market's going to do. And if people were paying attention, and I wish I would have done a little bit more research into Zcash, because a lot of people bought that and did really well with it. And it has a utility. It serves a purpose. Those are good investments. But basically what this is telling me is I should have bought basically indexed the altcoin market, and I would have made tens of millions of dollars. No, it doesn't work that way. I keep losing it. It follows Bitcoin to a T. So I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not saying it'll be okay. I'm saying that crypto has a way of always coming back and surprising you. Yeah, it's called a market cycle, dude. Good Lord. And I don't even know how many likes that got or how many reposts or comments. I mean, these two people are just perma bulls, and that's fine, but not taking advantage of the clear indications of the different phases of the market cycles, I think is foolish. So, I don't know. I just want people to make money, and I don't think it's that difficult if you just do the research and don't listen to a bunch of influencers who are clearly just trying to pump their bags and gain influence on social media. So I think I've said enough. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and visit my website at thecoinhedge.com, where you can sign up for a 1-hour crypto coaching to get your plan in place for the accumulation period. We go over your goals, make your plan, and teach you some of the fundamentals of navigating the cryptocurrency space. For example, we go over exchanges and brokers, hardware wallets, top assets, fundamental and technical analysis, digital asset LLCs, and more. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, have a good one.